The events are set in the 1920s. Jacob Storr is a long-distance sailing captain. Most of his life is spent at sea. Every new day is similar to the previous one, but there is always risk, as the sea is a highly unpredictable element. The ship docked in Paris so the crew could replenish their supplies. Jacob longed for normal food, for often at sea they had to eat unsophisticated fare. However, Jacob suffered another stomach ache in the evening. This had been troubling him more frequently of late. Many sailors face this issue, but the cook seemed to have no health problems even after so many years. According to him, it was because he was married. This got Jacob thinking. Soon he received an invitation from his old friend Coder to meet at a restaurant. Coder revealed that his business partner had just swindled him. Jacob in turn declared that he wanted to get married. He would propose to the first woman who walked into the restaurant. When an old lady was about to enter the restaurant, Jacob was frightened. But fortunately the woman changed her mind at the last moment and left. Coder asked for a loan. Of course Jacob helped him out. After his friend left, a young attractive woman entered the restaurant. At first Jacob just observed her, then he approached and immediately proposed. He asserted that his intentions were absolutely serious. The woman asked Jacob to quickly tell her something about himself and asked when the wedding would be. Their conversation was interrupted by a man who turned out to be Lizzie's admirer. She straight told her admirer that Jacob was her groom. It seemed that the situation amused Lizzie. Soon the wedding took place. Now Jacob and Lizzie were legally husband and wife. They discussed various topics to get to know each other better, and then Jacob taught his wife how to play ship poker. Jacob immediately understood that Lizzie was not like other women. She beat him at poker. In the morning, Jacob was preparing for another long-distance voyage that would last 4 months. Lizzie promised to wait for him. All these months passed for Jacob in anticipation of meeting his wife. And finally he returned home. Lizzie had made their apartment cozy. Before, Jacob never had a permanent home. He gave his wife a present, an expensive perfume. They seemed happy with each other. Soon Jacob finally met Lizzie's large family. The meeting went quite well. When on the long-distance voyages, Jacob could only think of his wife. One day Coder proposed a risky but profitable business venture to him. Soon Jacob returned home. Lizzie had received mail from the police prefect. She told the husband that some man had stolen her purse on the street last week. Jacob personally visited the police station to discuss the incident. But it turned out that his wife had not been completely honest with him. In fact, she'd been involved in a car accident while driving with some man. Jacob came home upset. But he lied to his wife, saying that the officers couldn't find the relevant case. To save his marriage, Jacob pretends as if nothing had happened. Above all, he is afraid of losing his beloved. It was time for Jacob to set sail again. One day the cook confessed that he had 3 wives. In their Eastern culture, this was normal. Jacob was puzzled about how one could manage 3 wives at the same time. Many men are interested in Lizzie, and she doesn't mind flirting with them. Watching this, Jacob feels jealousy. Later, he asked his wife who the man was with her. Lizzie assured him it was just her acquaintance or writer. But Jacob didn't believe her and couldn't hold back his emotions any longer. Lizzie noticed that he had changed and had become rude. To smooth over the misunderstanding, Jacob said they could have lunch with that writer. Jacob also said that he had been offered a job. He would have to embark on an unplanned voyage. It's an elite ship, so the pay would be good. Jacob suggested that Lizzie should go with him. At first she agreed, but at the last moment she changed her mind. Before departure, Jacob met with Tommy, a sailor who served on his ship. Jacob asked if he knew anything about Coder. It turned out that Coder had gotten into illegal business and had become rich. Jacob set sail. One night an alarm rang out. A fire had started on the ship. Jacob didn't panic and ordered his sailors not to prepare for evacuation but to put out the fire. As Jacob had predicted, it soon rained. The flames were extinguished, the danger was over. Upon his return, Jacob as usual gifted Lizzie perfume, but she said she was using a different brand now. Even after his words about the fire, Lizzie remained indifferent. It seemed that there was no mutual understanding left between the spouses. When they visited the theater, Didin, that same writer, was with them. Of course Jacob didn't like this, but he liked it even less that Lizzie was flirting with this man. Jacob couldn't get a cab, so Didin offered to give them a ride. Trying to appear polite, Jacob invited him for a drink. Didin happily agreed. At home leaving the guest, Jacob came to his wife in the bedroom. She looked sad and wanted to be alone. Annoyed at his wife's refusal, Jacob returned to Didin, who who admitted that the car was not his but his rich uncle's. Dedin frankly stated that he was unemployed. As it turned out, Dedin, thanks to his influential connections, was aware of how the captain single-handedly saved the ship. In Dedin's opinion, Jacob should work in a rescue service as he is adept at acting in critical situations. However, for this, he needs to go to Hamburg, as business is booming there. Soon the couple moved to Hamburg. They were noticed by Greta, who was on that ship the night of the fire. She considers Jacob a hero. The women had a pleasant conversation, after which the spouses moved into their new apartment. It seems their relationship is becoming increasingly strained. But regardless, Jacob loves his wife and wants to do everything to bring tenderness back into their life. Jacob realized that Lizzie has feelings for Dedin. She doesn't hide this and asks her husband why he doesn't marry Greta. But Jacob is not willing to just let go of his wife, turning a blind eye to her infidelity. At night, Jacob didn't want to be in the apartment, so he left. In the morning, he was awakened by smiling Lizzie, who had made him tea. Jacob said he agrees to a divorce if she truly wants it. Lizzie in turn confessed to the husband that he is very dear to her. She asked him not to be angry at her for those words. Also, Lizzie told Jacob that he doesn't have to always be so manly. She wants a spark in their relationship, but her husband is too proper and noble. Lizzie prefers a different type of man. In the following shots, we see Jacob confessing his love to Greta. But the girl does not believe his words are sincere. The captain asked Greta to wait for him here while he went to the hotel on business. There Jacob met with Coder, who had now become successful. Now he has no time for his friend. All this time Greta was waiting for her beloved in the rain. They agreed to meet tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. At home, Jacob watched his wife dancing. Passion seemed to have returned to their relationship. Later, Lizzie told her husband that she finds this city horrible. The woman fears that she will meet her end here. Jacob lied that he has a meeting with Coder at 10 o'clock. Lizzie gave a meaningful smile, indicating that she knows the whole truth. Jacob decided not to go anywhere and stay with his wife. However, Lizzie's biting jokes made him change his mind. But when he was about to leave, Lizzie said that she supposedly had a foot cramp. Later, Jacob met with Greta, who rushed into his arms. The girl doesn't understand why Jacob neglects her in response to her love. Greta wants to hold on to her loved one by any means. The girl promised the captain that if he marries her, she will be the best wife for him. Jacob said he would divorce Lizzie because he was tired of such a life. But according to him, divorce is very difficult. Greta did not believe Jacob's words. She is sure that he will never be able to leave his wife. When the girl left, Jacob stared out the window for a long time. In the evening, Coder, who had made a very profitable deal, invited his friend to a party. Jacob confessed that today he had proposed to another woman. Coder introduced Jacob to his influential friends. Many women were interested in the captain. Jacob gladly responded to their flirtation, taking his unfaithful wife as an example. Coder offers Jacob to go into business together and sign a contract. Coder also said he wanted to leave all his business partners with nothing. After some hesitation, Jacob still signed the contract. In a splendid mood, he did not return home until morning. Jacob did not hide from his wife that he had proposed to another woman and that he has more than one admirer. Hearing this, Lizzie just laughed. According to her, she also received a marriage proposal from another man yesterday. Jacob hired a private detective to follow his wife and gather evidence for a divorce. To get a divorce, one needs to prove that a wife is unfaithful to her husband. At home, Jacob asked Lizzie directly who had proposed to her. Lizzie asked not to take this foolishness seriously. Later, Jacob called his wife and said that he was leaving for 2 days for negotiations in another city. Instead, he sat on a bench by the lake until nightfall. Returning home, he lied to his wife that the trip had been canceled. Jacob wanted to catch Lizzie red-handed, but there was no one else in the apartment. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Lizzie begged Jacob not to go, but he went to check anyway, suspecting that it was his wife's lover. Jacob asked the concierge who had knocked on their door. Bloom assured that it was him. Recently, Jacob had taken the keys to the front door from him but never returned it. Soon Jacob met with the private detective again, who told the man that his wife was faithful to him. Jacob did not expect to find this out and gave Lizzie a beautiful bouquet of flowers the same day. However, while Lizzie was looking for a vase, Jacob found something compromising in her purse. Jacob intends to find a new job so that there is no need to go on long trips. He wants to always be with his wife and keep an eye on her. Lizzie doesn't like that her husband is always busy with work. She doesn't hide the fact that today during a walk around the city she met a charming man and had some wine with him. Lizzie doesn't work, so she always takes money from her husband. For the first time, he asked what she was spending money on. Not getting what she wanted, Lizzie began to disturb the husband's work and make fun of him when she knocked his inkwell onto the floor. Jacob threw a vase at the mirror. In a fit of anger, he began to trash the room. Lizzie remained unfazed and called him a clown. Jacob couldn't hold back and for the first time in their marriage, grabbed his wife. After that, she took money from his purse and simply walked away silently. With helplessness, Jacob cried. He does not understand how to find a way out of this situation. Later, Jacob asked his bosses to pay his salary early, but he was denied. There was almost no money left. Jacob aimlessly wanders the streets of Hamburg. It's already night, but he has no desire to go home. Jacob stood on the bridge and at some point jumped into the water. He misses the sea and his previous life without Lizzie. Later, without ever finishing what they started, he ended up at the doctor's office. Jacob does not understand why he cannot establish any order in his life. The doctor said that everyone faces this problem, so Jacob is no better or worse than others. Jacob thought a lot about what his life had become. On the street he met Liz, who acted as if nothing had happened. Lizzie assured her husband that she was faithful to him and loved him. It seemed that this was enough for Jacob to calm down. The couple went for a boat ride. Jacob embraced his wife. These were the moments he valued most. In the evening, the couple spent time in a bar. Lizzie doesn't like that the husband never truly courted her. Jacob confessed that his love for her had almost faded. Before he was willing to do everything for his wife, but now that was in the past. Only now did Lizzie notice that her husband had a fever. He started getting worse and worse. Lizzie did not leave his bedside. 2 days later, Jacob began to recover. He asked his wife where she had gotten the money during these 2 days. Lizzie said she had sold some of her things. Jacob received an envelope with shares from Coder. Perhaps they will become rich one day. Soon Jacob was offered a job, but he would have to set sail in a week. Jacob asked for permission to take his wife with him. Jacob also received an invitation from a group of women to attend a masquerade ball. Lizzie was not at home, so Jacob went to the party alone. Here he noticed Adin, and sensing something was wrong, decided to follow him. Jacob suspects that his wife secretly came to the party to have fun as well. His suspicions were confirmed. Lizzie was here, and it seems she also noticed him. Jacob hurried to leave the party. The realization came to him that his wife continues to deceive him. At the restaurant, Jacob met with the old acquaintance and Coder. Jacob said he intends to divorce Lizzie. Coder immediately proposed to celebrate this. However, all Jacob's thoughts were on Lizzie. Returning home, he saw Lizzie getting into a car with some men. Jacob demanded that Bloom tell him where they had gone. Bloom replied that they went to the central train station. Jacob immediately rushed there. Seeing Lizzie on the train with Adin, Jacob guessed everything and demanded his wife return the shares. She had no choice but to fulfill his request. Jacob also ordered his wife to write a confession for the court that she together with her lover stole the husband's shares and lived her life dishonestly. With tears in her eyes, Lizzie apologized. But Jacob did not need her apologies. All he wants is a divorce. The note with his wife's confession will help him with this. 7 years have passed. Jacob's life seems to be in order, but he never found his true love, although many women are interested in him. One day Jacob saw Lizzie among the passers-by. He couldn't believe his eyes. Later that day, Jacob learned from his old acquaintance that Lizzie had allegedly passed away 6 years ago. The man does not understand who he then saw on the street today. Jacob is back at sea, where he belongs. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel not to miss more exciting new products. Also, the authors will be pleased if you leave your opinion in the comments.